All right, guys, after coming out of the closet, I'm kidding, after coming out with my 5 teams that I absolutely love for March Madness, I am going to be doing 5 teams I'm probably staying away from based on where they're seated and things like that. We're going to be going through a list of teams that aren't playing well, that are probably going to be relatively high seeds. You know, I'm not going to say, oh, stay away from UNC Asheville here, right? We're going to be talking about the higher seeds, okay? So the first team we're looking at is a real enigma. It's Tennessee, who, yes, they're ranked 4th overall, according to T-Rank. All the analytics love them. Ken Palm loves them. But you just look at their team, and it's just too many losses in the second half of the season. And the recent loss to a Missouri team that I really am not impressed with Missouri. So it's like, Tennessee, to me, not a good enough offense. Too many, what's their record in their last 12 games? It looks like they're 6-6, maybe 6-7. And, you know, I'm just not buying Tennessee due to the second half struggles, even though I'm the analytics god. I know the analytics love Tennessee. When it comes to the analytics, it's important to follow them, but it's also important to kind of just say, listen, I'm the human, I'm in control. Don't let the analytics run your life. So when you see a team like Tennessee, you need to tell the analytics, nope, not going to happen. I trust the analytics, but not with everything. I'm the human being. I'm in control. Tennessee is not going far. I'm looking at their actual results, and I'm saying I'm not going to fall for this. And you look at their offensive output, it's very lacking. I know that, listen, probably one of the best defenses in college basketball, although I'd probably say Kent State University has the best defense, but no, analytically, they're one of the best defenses. I totally understand it. Look at the steal rate of their top 2 players. It's impressive. Nobody's denying that, but the team just does not have enough offensive output. As a 3 or a 4 seed, I will certainly not be picking Tennessee to go to the Elite 8. I might even have them out of the tournament in the round of 32, depending on the draw that they get. Best case scenario for them in my bracket is probably the Sweet 16, and then they're done. But there could be a few scenarios where I have them losing in the second round and not making this second weekend. Next, it's a very similar team. It's another team that is liked by the analytics, the 9th overall team according to T-Rank. It is San Diego State. They are 26-6, and they play in a pretty good conference. I mean, the Mountain West this year is looking like possibly a 3-bid league, maybe a 4-bid league. You take a look at San Diego State, good at defense, but it says they're 35th in the country on offense, and I understand it's probably because they play at a slow tempo, but I just do not see an elite offensive team at all. You take a look at their overall season, they've run up some good game scores against, Utah State, but Utah State really it'll be an interesting game tonight. San Diego State versus Utah State. That'll be intriguing. I just can't get that Fresno State 45-43 win out of my head. They recently lost to Boise State. Beating Wyoming, that's whatever. Beating Colorado State by 3 is not inspiring. They crushed San Jose State. That's a good win. San Jose State's a good team, but they still only score 64 points. So this San Diego State team, you're looking at them kind of as a middle tier seed, a 4, a 5, whatever they end up being. I might have them losing in the first round. And another reason, you take a look at the PRPG of these players, it's just really lacking on the offensive side of the ball. If they're a 5 seed and they face Charleston or Drake or even an Oral Roberts, that is a very hard game to pick, and that's their first round matchup. So San Diego State, I am not high on. If they are a 5 seed, they are one of those candidates to be upset in a 5v12 matchup. Next, we're going to be talking about Virginia. So Virginia, with me, it's definitely a love-hate relationship. It's just really the style of basketball they play. They're prone to upsets because they are so lackluster on the offensive side of the ball. We have to give Tony Bennett credit. He's a great coach. I've had great success picking Virginia. I picked them to win the 2019 tournament, and they did. And my bracket finished in the 99 percentile, and I became a multimillionaire. So, I love Virginia. It's very hard for me to do this, but this is a team, the 59th best offense, not even a top 25 defense. I could see this team, if this team faces Toledo in the first round in a 4v13, let's be honest, they're losing. They are. If they get a bad draw in round one, they're going to lose. They beat Clemson. I think Clemson is a total fraud anyways. I know they played well. They had a game score of 99. They beat North Carolina as well and had a good game score. But, maybe you could say they're peaking, I guess. They've had 4 straight green game scores, but 2 of those games against Clemson, I'm just not buying Virginia. I could see this team losing in round 1 or round 2 as a 4 seed and not making the Sweet 16. I'm going to steer clear of them, and I would imagine most people will as well, but you're also going to get some people that really respect Virginia basketball, and they've had success in the tournament. But it is also important to remember they did lose to a 16 seed, and their overall offensive output, they've really got one really above average offensive player. This is the type of team, if you're facing a good offensive team like Toledo, you're really gonna struggle if Toledo is hitting their shots, keeping up with them. So they're on the list. Next, Miami. This is another 5 seed. So the thing with Miami is they made the Elite 8 last year. I just don't see it happening again. They're 39th in terms of T rank, so the analytics agree with me. They think they're kind of a little bit fraudulent overall. They do have a good offense. I understand that. I'm not denying it. Certainly, they're very potent. They've got 4 legitimate elite offensive players. Absolutely. The bad news is, the defense is just horrific. 135th. Teams with defenses outside of the top 100, you're not going to the Elite 8. You're not going to the Sweet 16. I could see Miami losing in round 1 in a 5v12 matchup. I just don't trust them this year, even though you take a look at the numbers in the ACC. They won a bunch of games. The ACC was really bad this year. They end up losing to Duke. They only beat Wake Forest by 2. So that is a team, Miami. I really haven't bought Miami all year. And again, they do have impressive offensive players. No one's denying that. But when you have a defensive efficiency outside of the top 100, it is really hard to pick you to go far. Teams like that normally do not have success. And then just some other teams to look at. Xavier. So, when it comes to the Big East, guys, if you want some advice on the Big East, the teams that I really look at are Marquette and UConn. The teams I'm staying away from are Xavier and Creighton. And I know Sean Miller, he's a good coach. They've got a really good offense, 4th in the country. The defense is really lacking. It's 85th. And I can tell you, if you want to go for an elite offense, bad defense team, Gonzaga is your team, not Xavier. Xavier's probably going to be a 4 seed. I think they don't make it out of the first weekend. You take a look overall at their game scores. The DePaul game is a real black eye. You don't want to read too much into it, but the defensive performance, the numbers there, 84 points to DePaul is terrible. I know they crushed Creighton, but Creighton is so inconsistent. They did receive a perfect game score in that Creighton game, but again, Creighton is very inconsistent. I would say when it comes to Xavier, a 4 seed, I'm steering clear of them personally. They do have a really good offense, certainly. So this may come down to whatever bracket side or region they get into, because they have an offense that can really make some noise, but if they get put in the wrong region, then I would probably go against them. I will say, looking at these offensive players, this is not a team you're going to want to pick against in the first round. They will beat the 13 seed for sure. That offensive output is just too good. They're not going to lose to a 13 seed, but I could see them losing in the second round, against a little bit of a better seed, depending on what happens there. Another team I don't buy at all, Iowa State. They just have too many losses. 19-13 on the year. I know they played Kansas tough in the Big 12 tournament, but I'm really not into Iowa State. The offense, 86. They've got a good defense at number 8. But the offense is just too far lacking for me. Looking at their schedule, this is kind of like the Tennessee situation. It's just been a really bad second half of the year. This team's not going to win a single tournament game, in my opinion. What are they going to be, a 5 or a 6 seed, a 5 versus a 12, a 6v11? When it comes to the 5v12s, I will say, I know I keep saying that, the 5 seeds are going to lose. When the bracket actually comes out, you're going to want to have minimum 2 5 seeds win. I would say this year, because the 12 seeds are so good, I'm going to have 2 12 seeds winning and 2 5 seeds winning, but we're going to have to see how the matchups are. But that's probably what I'm going to do. I'm going to do a 50-50. More times than not, traditionally in terms of brackets, you'll actually get 3 5 seeds beating the 12 seeds and then 1 12 seed winning. But I do think this year, when you've got a team like Charleston, Drake, Oral Roberts, these are teams that they haven't lost in forever. They're very dangerous, and you've got teams like Miami, bad defensive teams on the 5 line. Iowa State is certainly a team that's susceptible to an upset, and then their offensive output is just horrific. I mean, that PRPG overall, there's really no players that scare me at all if I'm defending these guys on this roster. And then when it comes to like a 1 or a 2 seed, Purdue is someone I'm very concerned about. I think they could be out before the first weekend. They have one player and it's a center, and that's really concerning overall. So if I were to give someone like a 1 seed or a 2 seed that could get a surprise upset, what I think I'm going to do, I'll want to see who Colgate faces. I think Colgate is supposed to be a 15 seed, but if you're looking for maybe a 15 seed to beat a 2 seed, I would say let's see who Colgate matches up with. But there is kind of the idea that I might have the 1 and the 2 seeds going a combined 8-0 in the first round, because I think they probably will. I'm just not seeing any 15 seeds that are very good outside of Colgate. Looking at the 14 seeds, the 13 seeds, there's some intriguing ones there. But just like looking at this bracket, the 2s, UCLA, Montana State, I'm not picking Montana State. Baylor, Vermont. Vermont almost lost to UMass Lowell. I know people are down on Baylor, but Baylor has an offense that's talented. They're a team with Scott Drew. They know how to win in March. I respect Baylor basketball. Texas facing Colgate. So if I was Texas, I would really want to avoid Colgate. I would much rather face a UNC Asheville. They've got Arizona versus UNC Asheville there. The 3 seeds, that's a great draw for Kansas State. Kansas State is a team that could be susceptible, but they will not lose to Kennesaw State. Kennesaw is a very weak 14 seed. Furman is a team I would certainly not pick against Marquette. UC Irvine's not even going to be in the tournament, and then UConn would just trounce Louisiana. So they have UConn up on the 3 line at this point. And then Virginia versus Iona. I mean, that's an interesting idea there with Iona. Xavier versus Toledo. I would probably pick Toledo to win that game outright, but you never know. Tennessee and Yale. That's a tough one, but I'd probably stick with Tennessee unless, we'll see how Yale does tomorrow. Indiana, VCU, that's a great draw for Indiana. Virginia Commonwealth is not good this year. But, I mean, some of these teams, it needs to be updated. Like, Sam Houston is out, unfortunately. And then the other 3 seeds, TCU, Oral Roberts, that's a toss-up. San Diego State, Drake is a toss-up. Iowa State, Charleston is a toss-up. I mean, you're playing Russian roulette in these 5v12 games for sure. But yeah, guys, those are kind of like I would say the biggest frauds or like teams that I don't like going into the tournament. It's Tennessee, the way they've been playing. Virginia, I'm staying away from. Iowa State on the 5 line. Miami, Xavier, and then another team I'm not interested in is Creighton. I think Creighton's just way too inconsistent to go deep in the tournament, but we will see. Either way, that's going to do it for this video, guys. Make sure you follow me on Twitter. Link to that's always in the description. I'm, of course, the Depressed Ginger. Thank you for watching.